So this is from a book called Knockout Girl that a lot of people have been really interested in. I'm going to read you the first maybe chapter or two. This character is really sassy and she's got a hard time going on first. So, uh, Knockout Girl, chapter 1. My life has always been absolutely beautiful, amazing, perfect. Floating in the salty ocean, lying on endless sandy beaches, school, surfing, boys, beach parties, night dips. Everything has always been exactly as it should be. Until one day, it all came crashing down. Kind of like I wish this stupid plane would. Don't give me that look. You can't just sit there and judge me when you don't even know what I'm going through. Trust me, if you had lived 16 glorious years on the island paradise of everyone's dreams, only to be ripped away to the icy cold north, you'd be willing to go down on a plane too. What's wrong with it? Let me paint you a little picture. Picture yourself not on a boat on the river, but lying on a towel stretched out on white sand, the sound of the ocean waves calming you as a breeze filters through your salt-tangled hair. The palm trees sway back and forth, offering you occasional shade from the hot rays of light. As you sunbathe, you become aware of a distinct presence. It's your crush, Hypo, his golden hair soaked, his bronze skin practically glowing. You sit up, trying to look sexy, which is difficult, in the sand. And you put on an air of bored interest in an effort to hide the fact that you're readjusting the back of your bikini bottoms. Hypo doesn't seem to notice, but maybe he's just being polite. He shakes the water of his hair and finally looks down at you. Hey, he says coolly with a nod. You smile and open your mouth, but at first no sound comes out. Then finally, hey, mind if he gestures to your towel? Yeah, sure, you exclaim a little too enthusiastically. Then you both sit together in silence, staring at the waves. So I was thinking, did you know? You both try to speak at the same time and then laugh awkwardly as you look away from each other. A moment later, he touches your shoulders. Ladies first. I was going to say that you get interrupted by the sound of a cell phone ringing. It's yours, of course. Are you going to answer, Kaipo asks? Nah, you say with a smile. What were you saying, you ask, because you feel weird now? He chuckles at your change of topic, but answers anyway. I was thinking about that new Italian restaurant, and I thought, the cell phone rings again, and you let out a little frustrated sigh. Sorry, just go ahead, you tell him. Hypo glances down at the sound coming from your bag and raises an eyebrow. Why don't you just hit ignore so the sound stops? You take out your phone and see that your mother is trying to get a hold of you. Because if I do that, my parents will know I'm purposefully trying to ignore them. If I let it ring, then I can pretend I didn't hear it. When he starts to laugh, your face flushes hot. Not that I'm trying to be dishonest. Usually I would answer. It's just that I know my mom's just calling to tell me dinner will be ready soon. You stare at the waves again as you wait for the rain to stop. There are some little kids splashing around in the water, giggling, jumping, and even diving in. It's really cute if you like children. When your mom finally gives up, Kaipo turns to you and says smoothly, so speaking of dinner, I was wondering if, yeah, you coax with what you hope is a coy smile. Well, I mean, if you're free and all, if you want. His voice gets all shy, which you find really cute. Just as you poise your lips to say yes, the phone starts ringing again. You sigh heavily. I'm sorry, Kaipo, you tell him as you take out your phone. It's okay, Elli, he says with a gentle smile. You should answer it. Tell her that maybe you won't be home for dinner? You grin widely at him and then hit answer on your phone. It's your father this time. Elli? He sounds concerned, but you can't think of why he would be. We've been trying to get a hold of you. Sorry, Dad, you say. I'm just at the beach with friends. You add the with friends because your parents don't like it when you go swimming in the ocean alone. It's kind of true anyway. Kaipo is your friend. Well, we need you to come home, honey, Dad says. He sounds vaguely urgent, but you're too preoccupied getting lost in Kaipo's sweet blue eyes to care much. I kind of have dinner plans, you say. Hastily you add, if that's okay. It's not, Dad says. Come home, please. But Dad, Elikapeka, he says, and you know it just got real serious because he almost never uses your full name. Your mother and I need to talk with you. Come home. You swallow back your disappointment, but you know you can't argue. He's serious. He's not even doing it just to ruin the almost date you had. He really needs you to come home. Okay, you say quietly. Casting the briefest of glances at Kaipo, you add, see you soon. You look at Kaipo as you end your call. He says, so? Hold that thought, you say, trying to sound cool. Even though you're mad at your parents, I have to go home. But just ask me again soon, okay? As you get up, he asks, "Is everything all right?" You shrug. "Apparently my parents want to talk to me." "Sounds serious," he teases. As you head towards your bicycle, you say dryly, "Yeah, maybe they're finally getting a divorce." You immediately regret your comment, though, remembering how Kaipo's parents got a divorce just 2 years ago. "Oh, Kai," you say, feeling like an idiot. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that." He shrugs, but you know his nonchalance is forced. "Don't worry about it. I'll catch up with you later, Ellie." "Bye," you say as he walks away. As you pedal home, you wonder if your parents really are getting a divorce this time. It's not like you haven't noticed how much they dislike each other. Were they ever in love? Was the last time they felt love for each other sometime before you were born? Did they fall out of love because of you? You shake it off before you go inside your house. You remind yourself that their problems are not your own. Or at least that's what you think for a few blissful moments before you actually sit down with your sweet mommy and daddy. When you get inside, you expect there to be some special guest for dinner or something. But instead it's just mom and dad. They stay quiet as they pass you food to put on your plate. You sense something's up, so for once you keep your mouth shut and don't complain about not getting a date with Kaipo. Finally, as mom serves up some bowls of ice cream, dad looks right at you and says, "Ellie, we have some big news for you." You swallow hard as your heart starts hammering in your chest. This is it. You're sure they're breaking up. "We're moving," he says, after what feels like an eternity. You exhale deeply with relief. You're just moving. They're not breaking up. Everything is still okay. To where, you ask, thinking maybe you'll finally get a room with a walk-in closet. Dad exchanges a look with mom. He nods his head in your direction like he wants her to do something. And in response, she rolls her eyes and takes a big bite of ice cream. He pushes his plate away from himself in a clear display of rejection for her dessert choice, to which she shrugs like she doesn't even care, even though she really does. When Dad stalls long enough, Mom says, "Oh, just tell her, Robert." He gives you a sheepish look and says, "We're moving to Toronto." You can only think of one Toronto, but you're fairly certain that they couldn't possibly mean that one. So you ask hopefully, "That's near Honolulu, right?" Because you can't bear the thought of moving so far away. "No, Ellie," Mom says. "We're going back to Canada." You look back and forth between your mom and dad, and they stare back at you. You start to laugh, out of nervousness and also because you're hoping that they're actually just joking. Finally, you realize that they're serious. "We're moving back to Canada," you burst out. "We never lived in Canada." Mom sighs, which is quite possibly the most annoying reaction to you. "Your father and I did. Now we're moving back." "I got transferred," Dad adds, as if this is an acceptable excuse for ruining your life. Your face heats up and your head spins as you stand suddenly, knocking over your chair. "This is so unfair," you shout. Dad winces and Mom gets a steely look in her eyes. You know they're about to reprimand you, so you run to your room and slam the door as hard as you can. The whole house reverberates, but no one calls after you. The rage calms after a couple of days. During that time, you barely leave your room. You only text your friends to tell them that your life is over, and you don't even answer when Kaipo calls. Your parents give you 2 weeks to pack up your entire life. Your friends all come over to help you prepare, and it makes you wonder whether they're being nice or if they're just anxious to get rid of you. You go for the former because it hurts to think how they'll forget about you 2 weeks after you're gone. Kaipo comes to see you the day before you leave. You never actually told him you were leaving, but he caught wind of it through a friend of a friend. You sit with him out on the lanai because you don't want your parents to eavesdrop. "Why didn't you tell me you were leaving?" he says, sadness in his eyes. "Because this is your last chance to say something meaningful before you go. So you gather all your courage and say, because I really, really like you, and I just couldn't face it. I don't want to leave this place, and I especially don't want to leave you." He frowns, and you're terrified that you've said the wrong thing. Then, in a surprise gesture of romanticness, he kisses you. Kai's lips are warm and soft and taste vaguely like the ocean, which isn't half as bad as it sounds. "I wish we'd had more time, Ellie," he says. "Me too, Kai," you whisper back. Then he leaves forever, or rather you leave forever, because the next day you're on a plane bound for Canada in the dead of winter. And you just keep wishing that you'd wake up back in the real world. You keep wishing that Kaipo's kiss had stopped time so that you never had to leave. But it doesn't. The stupid plane keeps heading farther and farther north. Obviously, this story is about me, and not you. But you get the idea.
You just look so much
I'm going to do one more chapter, chapter 2, and then I'll leave it from there. So, chapter 2. I sigh for the 15th time in 10 minutes. Mom's asking me again if I'm settling in okay, if I like the bookshelf, and if I want to paint my room, and if I'm ever going to get rid of the boxes. Again, I reply that I never plan to settle in. The bookshelf looks like every other bookshelf. I want to I want black paint to symbolize how my life is over, and I'll get rid of the boxes when we move back to Hawaii. Mom scowls, again I might add, and then leaves my brand new horribly cold bedroom. I look around. There are two things on the bookshelf, dust and a book the previous owner left behind. The boxes that contain the entire contents of my life, minus the social part that I left in a coffin back in Hawaii, are all stacked up in neat rows along the wall underneath the two big windows. The windows that are extremely dafty, or so it feels. Everything in this country is so cold that I can't understand how anyone could have colonized this place. I glance at the desk that Dad bought a few days ago. He put it together for me because I couldn't be bothered. It has a lot of little drawers and spots for personal things, and would be quite attractive if I weren't so dead inside. I only have my laptop on it and a couple of letters from my friends back home. The letter from Kai is on top. Even though I got it yesterday, the envelope is still sealed. I want to read it, but I'm afraid of breaking my heart all over again. The only clothes I've bothered to unpack are the ones I've been wearing every day. And let me tell you, I learned pretty quickly that absolutely nothing I own is appropriate for the weather in the Arctic tundra. Mom said we go shopping really soon before the next school semester starts. We haven't yet, partially because I can't bring myself to go outside, and partially because Mom and I aren't exactly on good terms right now to actually shop together. Still, I know it's unavoidable, no matter how much I want to go home. Looking outside the window, I see all that grotesque white stuff falling from huge dark gray clouds. It reminds me of the ash from burnt sugarcane fields, except that I know it's a lot colder. It has one thing going for it though, it doesn't smell bad, but then it doesn't smell like anything. There's nothing interesting in the view outside my window, unless you like snow, snow-covered chimneys, snow-covered roofs, snow-covered street lamps. You get the picture. The houses, or what I can see of the houses, are actually kind of cute. They're all red brick with brown, gray, or black shingles. It's like something out of a movie. I guess I don't mind them, but it's still not home. There is one thing I really do like, though, that I swear I'll never admit to my parents. You know the street lamps I mentioned? Well, they're just ordinary street lamps, and there's nothing special about them. But a couple of nights ago, when I couldn't sleep because of the cold and loneliness, I got up and started pacing. And when I passed by the window, I caught sight of the light from the lamp glowing down in the snowy roof next to ours. My breath caught in my throat, an involuntary reaction that I despised, and I couldn't tear my gaze away from it. I had never seen snow before, only in movies, and even then a camera can't quite do this particular vision justice. The way the smooth-looking snow takes on the color of the light and then sparkles like 1,000 little diamonds, it was magical. There, I said it. Other than that small glimmer of light, things here are pretty miserable. Honestly, how can they stand it? It's just so, Then I have to start school in a few days, and get this, I actually have to walk. Like, people actually walk in the cold. From what I can tell, they look about as normal as if they were walking barefoot along a beach. Can you imagine? How am I ever going to accomplish walking in this weather while A, not dying, and B, now I'm out at some mall with Mom, feeling absolutely ridiculous because I'm sure I look like a fool. I mean, I'm wearing about 5 shirts underneath an old winter coat Mom dredged up from who knows where, and a pair of pajama bottoms underneath my jeans from running shoes that are soaked through because I don't own any waterproof boots. I feel like everyone in the mall is staring at me, but that's probably because I'm staring at all of them, wondering how anyone can possibly look comfortable in their winter attire. It's hot in the mall, but it's a fake hot. It makes me sweat under my layers and fools me into believing that it's not really as cold outside as I originally thought. But then I see people busting through the outer doors, bringing in cold gusts of wind and snow, and I know I'm not imagining this awful winter bitterness. I hear some giggling to my left, and I turn, expecting to have to give some girls a dirty look for laughing at me. But when I look over, I see they're not actually paying attention to me at all. They're checking out a group of guys who just walked in from outside. I can't see what's so special about them. They're all wearing similar coats and knit hats that cover both sides of their faces, and they all have dorky grins as they nod their heads at the girls. I sigh at them. Everything is so blah here that I just can't see how they could get enthusiastic about anything, much less the totally unsexy clothing they're hiding under. I'm not saying they should go around in underwear or anything. They would surely die if they did. I'm just saying that it must be hard to feel flirty in that. Seriously, in knit hats? My grandma once sent me a knit hat that I quickly disposed of. My mom sent a very kind letter thanking her on my behalf and made no mention of my real reaction to it. The truth was that I, have never actually visited either set of grandparents or anyone in Canada, and I have to say I'm not really impressed with my first time here. Ellie, my mother says impatiently. I turn my focus back to her, and it's clear she's been trying to get my attention for a few minutes. Sorry, I say in a way that means, please repeat yourself or something zoned out again.
Okay.
Mom shakes her head.
Have a good day.
What do you think of this store, I said. There might be some nice sweaters.
And then I have a
Sure, Mom, I say resigned. What else am I supposed to do? I have to reconstruct my entire wardrobe, and at this point, I don't even really care whether the sweaters are nice or not. By the end of the shopping spree, I have 10 new sweaters, some fleece-lined jeans, knee-length socks, boots, mittens, gloves, scarves of various colors, a couple of coats, and even one of those hats, although not the kind with the flowers. At first, I was trying to make economic choices, but Mom basically told me to just get whatever I wanted and that Dad's company would cover the credit card charges. I think that was Mom's way of saying sorry for bringing me to the tundra, and I can't say I'm not at least a little bit forgiving. The first day of school is brutal. Mom doesn't make me walk, claiming that it's just so I can learn the route. I think it has more to do with the fact that after 17 years, even my Canadian-born mother isn't used to the cold anymore, and she felt bad for me. But other than getting a ride in a warm car, the rest of my day is horrible. I've never been the new kid at school before, but I'm halfway through grade 11 and halfway around the world. This is not fun, it's not comfortable, and it's not cool. I want to say I hate my parents until I pull the sleeves of my cashmere sweater over my fingers in a gesture of social awkwardness. Cashmere is so soft. All of my teachers, without fail, pronounce my name incorrectly. Most of them pronounce it Alika Pika, which makes all the students laugh, especially since my chemistry teacher makes it sound like he likes taking a peek. And every single time I correct them, I have to have a lengthy discussion about what my name means. It's super awkward, especially since it doesn't mean anything other than when my parents had me, they were obsessed with Hawaiian culture, and really it just means Elizabeth, but please just call me Ellie. See what I mean? Lunch is lonely. I wasn't super popular back home, but I had my own group of friends. I've never known what it's like to be on the outside until today. I could barely find a spot to sit because I didn't want to be that loser that has to beg a group of people for a spot at their table only to be rejected. It's much easier for everyone if you do the rejection part yourself. But then a weird thing happens. This random guy sits down, not right next to me or directly across from me, but still close enough that he's trying to sit with me. And like he might get the wrong idea and start a conversation with me. Okay, that sounds bad, I know. I mean, I'm not an unfriendly person. Normally I think I'm pretty pleasant to be around, but not today. Today I'm just in a bad mood. The same bad mood I've been in since Mom and Dad said we were moving. So if this guy thinks that he can just sit here and, is that the mystery meat, he asked, pointing a stubby finger at my plate of cafeteria-issued food? I don't get time to answer before he continues. Because as a veteran, I feel I should warn you. If they ever offer you the mystery meat, he pauses to smile, don't be afraid to take it. It's just beef. I don't know what to say to him. Why is he talking to me? And about beef of all things. And what's with the serious lack of a tan? Honestly, this guy is so light you'd think the sun didn't even visit Canada. I look around briefly just for comparison's sake. No one else is quite as anti-tanned as him, so I can only assume he's just a weirdo. I finally say, realizing that he's just waiting for some kind of an answer. But what exactly does one say to that? I know, he says with a chuckle. It's scary being in a new school, which is why I thought to tell you that you made a good choice for your meal today. Tomorrow, though, they're offering fish sticks. I suggest a bag lunch. Thanks, I stutter, since I've apparently lost all ability to communicate properly. He gives me a dorky smile, which, if I weren't in such a bad mood, might have been slightly endearing. As it is, I find it more than slightly annoying. I wait until he looks away so I can take a good look at him. Aside from the anti-tan, he's not that bad looking. He has rectangular glasses that give his otherwise plain-shaped face some definition. There are blue eyes hiding behind thick eyebrows that are a shade darker than his plain brown hair. He's not skinny or built, but he's not fat either. A little on the chubby side, I guess. I watch him write math equations in a notebook and notice that while his fingers look like they should be clumsy, they actually move quite deftly. And then it dawns on me. He's a nerd, which explains why he doesn't look athletic or like he fits in with any of the other groupings I see around the cafeteria. It also explains his skin tone. It's not an anti-tan I'm looking at, but more likely a computer screen tan. Ah, I say audibly. Whoops. He raises one of those bushy eyebrows at me. What? What? I repeat, my own finely plucked eyebrows drawing in. His eyes crinkle in amusement. You said, ah, he says, making a sweeping gesture in the air with his hands. I did, I asked, feigning ignorance. He nods, clearly trying to hide his grin. Where exactly are you from again? I pause. why am I even bothering? I'm still hoping Dad will find a way to take me back to Hawaii. I don't think I ever said. Ella, is it? He asked out of the blue. The bell rings then, saving me from having further conversation with him. Close enough, I say, grabbing my stuff quickly and attempting to make a hasty exit. As it turns out, I didn't need to run off so quickly. Auntie Tan happens to be in my next class, which makes that at least 2 classes we have together. I'm sitting in the far corner of the classroom when he walks in. He smiles at me, terrifying me into thinking he might sit next to me, but instead he sits in the front row. Good, let's keep it that way. All in all, it was a pretty horrible first day of school. It's a terrible feeling being that lonely, not knowing anyone, not knowing anything that anyone's talking about because I'm not from anywhere closer, remotely close to here. On top of that, I felt ridiculous in what I was wearing. Everyone else dumps their coats in their lockers, and for the rest of the day, they're all walking around in just jeans and t-shirts. Some of the girls even wear nice flats or regular shoes. Meanwhile, I was wearing layers because Mom told me it's warmer in layers.
Boo, you scared me.
Yeah, I was pretty warm. In fact, I was so warm that I'm pretty sure every other student could smell me coming. Maybe that's why I didn't make any friends today. And no, I do not consider Auntie Tan to be my new friend. At least I've learned my lesson, though. Wear something cute, put something heavier on top, then make sure the cute stuff is wearing all day long. Gotcha. This is going to take a lot of getting used to.
You're a tiger?
And that's the end of chapter 2. Thank you for listening. And if you're wondering about any of my other books, I'm over here under this big pine tree with my little table here.